Hey, what's going on out there, guys? Got a great show lined up for you today. If you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. We have a special guest today. Betty Van Velsen, the beautiful one, is back from vacation. What's up, Betty?
Don't shout it from the rooftops. I might go. Yeah, I was here in the background. I just couldn't be on the show every time, and I'm still might not be always there because of things happening in life, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, it's now it's not that great weather. Getting darker earlier, so I might be home a little bit more. Hopefully.
And you'll grace us with your presence on the show more. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's what I'm trying to say, but if I will, be absent, I will be absent. Doesn't make any sense.
That's an inexcused or unexcused absence.
Well, I will ask you first then, if I'm allowed to.
Yeah, right. You're just saying that for the crowd.
Jack, right?
You're just saying that for the people listening.
Yeah. Well, you're not paying me, right? Every time I don't show up, I'm not being paid. How about that?
I'm going to garnish your wages anyway. This is all new. I'll tell you what. This is kind of new. It's been a couple weeks since I went live because I'm like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah, I had a sort of a delay with the intro, huh?
No, it wasn't a delay. I just wanted to make sure everything was happening cool because YouTube has a new live dashboard. I just want to make sure. I just wanted to look at it, make sure everything was golden because I had a couple hiccups with it a little earlier when I first sent out the premiere. Or scheduled live stream had a little hiccup, so I wanted to make sure everything was going good, but it was only a couple seconds. I just wanted to make sure it was good.
Okay, well, I thought that you might have some problems in the upstairs region.
Are you saying headspace and timing of the operator? Is that what you're saying?
Are you starting a fight?
Yeah.
Let me just say a couple of words. Calm Betty down. There you go.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
I'll mute again.
Thanks, Adam. Well, let us introduce Adam then, because there's another ball buster that is on the show, and it's the great Adam Meakin. Yeah.
Good evening, Betty. Pimping a new bit of work for this week with Tom Parker for an interview this week on his show. So yeah, just saying hello in chat, evening chat. Said hello to most folks, I think. So hopefully that covers. Evening, Betty, and I suppose evening, QE.
Evening, sir. Good to have you back.
I'm taking sides, and I don't need to.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah, good to have you back, Kel. Like I say, missed your voice.
Oh, thanks.
He was talking to me.
I hate my own voice, so I will shut up now.
He was talking to me.
Talking to you? Oh yeah, well, everybody knows that.
Tell him to not be so stupid.
Hey, we got two other ball busters now. We got Arwin and Chocolate saying. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello. What's going on, guys?
Well, we are going to talk about weight.
Gonna be a heavy show.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Wait a second.
It's going to be a heavy show, isn't it?
So who's going to talk about weight?
I thought you were talking about weight.
I just decided I'm not going to talk about it today. Heck with it.
Okay.
Wait a minute. It's your show.
On the hand, huh?
I'm going to nominate somebody to discuss it.
Not me. I'm rage quitting.
Rage quick quit.
Yeah, exactly.
That we were talking about that before. That's what Betty had termed it a long time ago. It's so funny.
Yeah, I thought that it was rage quick. Right? Not cool.
Okay.
Rage quit. Somebody would go away, then they would be going away quick. So rage. It made sense.
Wow.
Wow.
Translate well.
I think that Chocolate saying make that word wow epic.
I'm
Love
gonna
it.
try my best.
So you're not talking about weight then?
Yeah, I guess I will.
Thank God for that.
Thank God.
Well, I couldn't wait to see this show.
Well, I get the scales out then.
Just wait a second.
Now we're done waiting already. Get on with it.
Yeah. No, we're gonna wait till everyone get their seats because they're gonna need to sit down for this one. Ballers are definitely gonna need to sit down along with their therapist. Therapist
They need-
isn't there in person, then it's gonna be quick dial because they're gonna need it after this one.
They need to put the weight down.
Well, they need to take the load off, Fanny.
Well, I can't wait, and I'm bored of talking in synonyms that relate to solids and liquids. So if you don't hurry up, you're going to deflate me. I'm going to go to gas speak.
Deflate your weight.
Well, you can't deflate a weight, can you? You can't deflate a weight. Stop it. Made me think there.
We can deflate a weight, man, and use it as bait.
If you don't get on with it, I'm gonna spoil the entire show by explaining it in one sentence.
And thank you.
We should start.
And thank you for that
Oh.
because that's a very important point, Arwen. You are
Kind of funny, by the way, because my roommate is literally now weightlifting. Did you hear that bonk?
I don't know. I did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours?
Yes.
I don't know. I was talking.
Jeez. I don't know. I was talking.
That's the best answer.
Just wait one
To be
darn
fair,
minute,
sometimes
sir.
you've already started in your head, just like I cut on you there, John. You can't help it. But sorry, I did it, and I didn't even mean to. All right.
Like he was saying, he said he could solve it one sentence. I'll tell you what, and that's very true. It's not going to be in one sentence. However, it's going to be pretty quick. So that was a good point that he brought up. That's why I'm just delaying a little bit because it's not going to be a long presentation. It doesn't need to be. I don't need to put flowers around it. I don't need to garnishy this with anything else because it's an absolute train wreck. Right from the get-go. Everyone's known this. Adam has spoken about this periodically. We've touched on this subject, and I assigned him to do this presentation. I think something similar to this presentation a long time ago, but he's been on vacation, so I said, I might as well do it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take weight away from them, and then we're going to take Newtonian mechanics away completely. So all of classical mechanics by Newton are going bye-byes. So they're not going to be able to use any of it. That's the laws of motion and the universal law of gravitation anymore. They're just not going to be allowed to use it. They're going to force their hand to parrot the correct pseudoscience. That's it.
Woohoo.
Woo,
for me.
good time.
Can I make an attempt anyway
Make an attempt to do what?
to explain it all in one sentence?
Go ahead.
Wait.
All right. I think that weight is a convention based on relative density in a very specific medium setting, which would namely be air. That's why I, in the face of other things, call it air weight versus water weight and vacuum weight.
Huh.
That was it.
Now just wait a cotton pick a minute.
That sentence needs a few more words in it.
It does, but I didn't feel like saying anything.
Not far off.
I was trying to be quick. One sentence.
You mean a
Wasn't
rage
even
quick?
one sentence. No. I'm not rage quicking today.
All
There's
right.
nothing I disagreed with, Arwin. Nothing I disagreed with. There was bits I'd want to add. I'd want to make. I like a long-winded sentence anyway, so you know what I mean. So
All right.
I didn't find it that quaffable.
I'll tell you what I'm on now. A Greco Fiano. Very, very nice. I've just finished some. What was it? It was like a Frizzanti Rosé from Italy, but yeah, I'm on this now. So this is a lot more quaffable than that sentence.
Is it a good year?
I tell you what, I don't. It's you might have heard this guy, Jamie Oliver. He's a celebrity chef in the UK. He had a restaurant chain, and the wine bloke I know, this chain went bust. So I've got loads of this nice, like 20 quid a bottle, but I got it a load cheaper. So yeah, it's very quaffable, mate. So it's a quality well above its price that I managed to pay for it, which always makes it taste a little bit better anyway, doesn't it? So yeah, there you go. That's that's the wine roundup for this evening.
Well, if it's not a good year, would we have to wait?
Well, I don't think so. I think you know once you've opened it, it's limited to hours.
Yeah.
So,
What happens in hours?
I guess drunk, basically, John.
It starts oxidating. It starts reacting with the air.
I don't like that reaction. So I try to slow that entropy down by drinking it.
Yeah.
Right. I sometimes leave like wine remnants in a little glass, and then I try to sip it the next day, and then like, ugh. Like it's totally different. It's much more sour, but yeah, it's hard to describe exactly what the difference is, but you can definitely tell.
As I remember my organic chemistry, that is an example of entropy. It's the alcohol.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The bonds aren't necessarily that stable. So to follow the law of entropy, they'll follow. I think they go from alcohol to aldehyde to ketone to the acid, the vinegar that you smell, which is why wine goes vinegary when it goes off. It's that degradation and following the entropy of the bonds.
Is that the sugar or the alcohol? Alcohol, definitely part of it evaporates.
First of all, you've got a reverse where life comes in and actually upgrades, doesn't it? So the yeast turns the sugar to alcohol, a non-energetically favourable reaction.
Listen, that's speaking my love language, man.
There you go. It's alcohol. But like I said, then you've got the standard entropy that occurs after you've got the alcohol. It degrades again.
This is a tribute for the ballers, right? Because we're dispelling their weight. So we're just teaching them about wine, just so like, yeah, this is more viable ground for you to go.
Well, it's trying to soften the blow. It's not going to work.
Yeah, but it shows the rules apply everywhere, even non-quaffable substances.
Yeah, that's quite. Yeah. All right, we ready to get into it?
Yeah.
All right, mic discipline, please. All right, wait. Take the load off Fanny. Wait. You guys don't know anything about that. But like I said in the beginning, this is going to be a quite quick presentation. I mean, we're going to expand a little bit more outside of weight, but weight itself, this is a belly laugher, rage quick quit. Right? And it starts right from the beginning. So what do we always do when we come across a topic, a new topic or a general topic? We try to define this monkey. See, that's where the rubber meets the road and the axe hits the leg. Because here we go. From International Journal of Science Education via their alma mater wiki. Let's define this monkey. In the teaching community, a considerable debate has existed for over half a century on how to define weight for their students. The current situation is that a multiple set of concepts coexist and find use in various contexts. What? You want to run that by us one more time? Right? So it's a shapeshifter, in other words. So depending on what context you wanted to use it in, it changes its meaning. So it's a shapeshifter, in other words. It ends right. I could end the presentation right here. This is a joke, right? This isn't definitely not science. Definitely not logic, right? In fact, it goes against both. So we can end it right here and go home. But we won't do that. I know you need more. Not a problem. Back again to American Journal of Physics in 3 iterations, plus the standardization of technical terminology. Several definitions exist for weight, not all of which are equivalent. You want to run that by us one more time again? Several definitions exist for weight. You can't have several definitions for the same frigging word. Number one, it violates the law of identity. Number two, it's a burgeoning equivocation fallacy. I mean, it's pruned and ready to go for equivocation. If you have more than one definition for a single word, duh. So this is dead right here. Number one, it's not science. You can tell right away. There's no scientific method in this. This is just linguistic gymnastics. Train wreck gymnastics, by the way. So let's take a look at this. They said several definitions, right? We already know these two guys. Let's go to Anne-Marie Helmenstein. Words have precise meanings in science. Uh-oh. Is this precise? Several definitions? You wouldn't think so. I guess it would depend on the definition of precise then. Let's go to Nielsen Peter from Natural, Synthetic, and Artificial from PubMed. As in all scientific communication, precise language, there it is again, precise meanings, precise language is essential for giving and receiving messages correctly. Makes sense, right? That's not what we have here, right? Because we have several different definitions, correct? That's not science. Like I said, it's not even coherent linguistics. But let's solve it. Let's figure out what precise means, because I know we have all kind of problems in discovering the correct definition of terms. Precise from Merriam-Webster, exactly or sharply defined or stated. Is this exactly sharply defined or stated? Several definitions? Huh? You wouldn't think so, right? From Cambridge, exact for precise, exact, accurate. So the exact opposite of precise in science. This is a joke, people. And always remember from Dr. Mary Schweitzer, paleontologist, North Carolina State. Exactly. That's one of the things I drive my students crazy on. Words count. Words are important. Choose your words carefully, right? They're all speaking to what we call semantics. And it seems that, I don't know why this is, that it has some kind of derogatory connotation to the BallTARDs for some strange reason. I don't know where you get that. Who impugned some kind of derogatory connotation on the word semantics or the Socratic method or defining what we mean, right? You think that's an argument? That's one of your one-word arguments, right? So, semantics, refraction, out of context, cherry picking, gravity, right? That's the one-word argument, one-word comebacks you got, right? The train wreck, all of it. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and pick one of the definitions, then annihilate it, shall we? Let's go to this one. Your favorite. From the physics teacher, International Journal of Science Education and Standardization of Technical Terminology via their alma mater wiki. In science and engineering, the weight of an object is the force acting on the object due to gravity. And this is the formula right here. This is the equation. W equal mg. Mg, love you long time. We all know this, right? We've been talking about this for the past few months. I've been stressing it a little bit, trying to prune the tree to get you ready for it. But W equal mg. That, I'll tell you what, this looks suspiciously Newtonian, doesn't it? It has that F equal ma ring. It looks like they just substituted different terms or different variables in this equation, doesn't it? Number 2, m is for mass, which is undefined, and at the very best is a non-physical concept. Number 3, force due to gravity? Huh? Gravity is not a force. Gilligan? You got some big problems with this. I'm not going to go through all these. I'm not going to need to. Number 4, G is little g, which is birth from big G. Neither appear in Newton's Principia. Fancy that. But this weight equal mg, we're just going to take this right to the woodshed. So, like I said, well, what does this mean? Well, calculating weight. Here we go. Newton's second law of motion says F equals ma. In the case of an object at the Earth's surface, the force of gravity, or the gravity force, exerts on it is its own weight. Sounds kind of circular, doesn't it? But I digress. So here we go. So substituting W for F and G for A in the F equal ma equation leads to what? W equal mg. Mg love you long time, like I told you above, right? Has that funny little look to it, like F equals ma. That's very interesting. You got a problem. Let me tell you what your problem is. Better yet, let Richard Feynman from the Feynman Lectures tell you what the problem is with F equal ma. Okay? In spite of the differences, the law of conservation of momentum holds in quantum mechanics. Even though the law F equal ma is what? What did you say, Dick? False? Even though the law F equal ma is false. And all the derivations of Newton were wrong for the conservation of momentum, in quantum mechanics, nevertheless, in the end, that particular law maintains itself. What particular law is he talking about? Well, he's talking about the law of conservation of momentum, because he damn sure isn't talking about the one that's false now, is he? The law from Richard Feynman, the law F equal ma is false. Falsies. Are you tracking with me, sunshines? It's all downhill from here. So, what I call the three amigos, and we're going to come back to these here in a few minutes. Check this out. From their alma mater wiki, Newton's classical mechanics were superseded in the early 20th century when Albert Einstein developed the special and general theory of relativity. Uh-oh. Superseded? What does that mean? From Professor Jacob D. Bekenstein, Caltech. Einstein also replaced the Newtonian law of motion. That's F equal ma, by the way. By the statement that free test particles move along geodesics, the shortest curves in space-time geometry. So far, we have Newtonian or classical mechanics, or superseded by Einstein. The next one we got, the law of motion, was replaced by who? Einstein, according to Jacob D. Bekenstein from Caltech. Let's just end it all, shall we? Douglas Klein, professor of physics from Phys Libre Text. Listen carefully. Newton's two crowning achievements, the laws of motion and the laws of gravitation that had reigned supreme since published in the Principia in 1687 were toppled from the throne by who? Who? Einstein. Very, very interesting. So the conclusion here is inescapable. We're going to start doing some substitution. So substituting F for W, B for M, and S for A gives us F equal BS, or force equals bullshittery, making W equal MG, MG love you long time, horse puckery. How you like me now? Let's pile on the Newton train wreck. From Professor Shankar, Chair, Professor of Physics at Yale. The laws of physics are always quantum mechanical laws. You don't have separate laws for big and small things. The real question is, how do these very same laws, when applied to big things, by big things I mean the things you see in daily life, give the impression that the world is Newtonian? You see this? Give the impression. If I give the impression that I'm Superman, am I Superman? If Adam gives the impression that he's Shirley Temple, is Adam Shirley Temple? Are you tracking with me, sunshines? Hopefully you are. We're going to get nasty. Again, from Richard Feynman, who they praise and worship. We're going to take it. They're not parroting the right pseudoscience. And it's clear. Let's do it again. The discovery of quantum mechanics first, and then in the behavior of light, and then in the behavior of matter, finally culminating in 1926 with a full equation of quantum mechanics, which told us that the laws of motion of Newton were not right. Let me say that again. The laws of motion of Newton were not right. The rest doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's barely palpable background noise. That's all I need. That's it. That's it for Newton. Let's continue, though. From Professor Shankar, Chair of Physics. Yeah, again. All right, so today we're going to shoot down who? Newtonian mechanics. And Maxwell's theory, by the way. We're like the press. We build somebody up only to destroy them. He sounded pretty confident there. Wonder why he's sounding that way. Back to Professor Shankar again. First, I want to tell you what goes wrong with Newtonian mechanics. The double slit experiment is a problem. That's what puts the nail in the coffin for Newtonian physics. So he's still sounding confident. He gave you a little piece of the pie right here, right? Let's get specific with, guess what? Specificity of cowbell. Are you ready? This is why he's saying it. So we have a double slit experiment with a Newtonian particle, an electron. We close one slit and fire a bevy of electrons and we get 10 hits at point A. We close that slit and open the other slit and fire a bevy of electrons and get 8 hits at point A. The Newtonian prediction would be if we fired the same bevy of electrons with both slits open, we must get 18 hits at point A. Well, what do we get? We get a big fat zero is what we get. Well, Professor Shankar, what do you think about that? What does that mean? That is the end of Newtonian physics. I say again, that is the end of Newtonian physics. So, in relation to Newtonian or classical mechanics, whenever you hear classical, they're talking about Newtonian mechanics. And what they mean by that is the laws of motion and the universal law of gravitation. So in relation to that, what does shoot down the nail in the coffin, destroy, that is the end of, and the laws of motion of Newton were not right? What do they actually mean? BallTARDs, what is particularly confusing about this? Why is this confusing to you? You play willful ignorance with this? Right? It's not going to fly anymore. It's over. You're done. Back to the three amigos. Again, from their alma mater, Newton's classical mechanics were superseded in the early 20th century when Albert Einstein developed the special and general theory of relativity. All your pseudoscience priests know this. They're telling you. Why aren't you listening? You're just making stuff up, aren't you? Right? We're going to hold your feet to the fire. Right? Professor Jacob Bekenstein again from Caltech. Einstein also replaced the Newtonian law of motion by the statement that free test particles move along geodesics, the shortest curves in space-time geometry. They're not asking questions here. They're not saying maybe. Right? They're telling you, as a matter of fact, it's superseded and replaced. All of Newtonian mechanics are superseded and replaced by Einstein, period. There's no waffling here. There's no well maybes here. And the final dagger from, like I said before, Douglas Klein, professor of physics, via Phys Liber text. Newton's two crowning achievements, the laws of motion and the laws of gravitation that had reigned supreme since published in the Principia in 1687, were toppled from the throne by Einstein. It's very simple as to the meaning of this. How many more you want? You're not getting any more. So let's go with the same sort of genre. So in relation to Newtonian or classical mechanics, what does superseded by Einstein, replaced by Einstein, were toppled from the throne by Einstein actually mean? BallTARDs, what is particularly confusing about this? I'm failing to see where your argument lies. So, BallTARDs, time to start brushing up on your differential geometry and tensor calculus skills. Because for the past couple years, I've been walking you by the hand, giving you hot chocolate, rubbing your feet, trying to get you to parrot the right pseudoscience. You're just not doing it. And I'm tired of taking baby steps, so I'm going to chop your arms off, right? Get your attention. So from this point forward, BallTARDs, you will not be allowed to invoke Newtonian mechanics for anything. You will be forced, pun intended, to mindlessly parrot the correct pseudoscience. And what is the correct pseudoscience, you may ask? There he is. Say cheese. Have a nice frigging day. Comments, questions?
Yeah, the ballers in chat don't get it. They're all squirting over all sorts of other things like science. Yeah, it's just a rough approximation until somebody disproves you by bringing forth a better competing theory, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I don't know if they're even listening, the ballers at least.
Doesn't matter if they're listening.
We get it though.
Yep.
You know, good presentation.
Thank you.
All the facts.
Thank you.
I think that last bit's probably worth elaborating on why they don't get it, because standard response is, yeah, but the numbers add up. If I drop something, it exerts it, and it's not the point. It's the point that it takes away, that it is no longer an explanation. Quantum side of it, Einstein side of it, proves that it's not following the mechanics that Newton describes. It doesn't do that. So fundamentally, yes, the numbers will still add up because they were gathered empirically to derive the equations from. Of course, they still work because it's a backworking of a calculation from reality. But what Newton had outside of that backworking of a calculation was his statements of, this is how it actually works, this is what's going off, which was validated by the back calculations. That's taken away by Einstein, fundamentally disproved, first by Einstein and then by quantum mechanics.
Yes, sir.
Is that fair summation?
Yeah, that's fair summation. Yes. Yeah, it's all over. So they're going to have to start parroting the right pseudoscience, and that's Einstein. So we're going to have to see Einstein's field equations, and we're going to need you to solve them. First, let's do tides. We want to see how fairy tale gravity, Einsteinian gravity, is solved using Einstein's field equations for tides and the Earth. That's 2 or more masses, whatever that is. So we're going to need to see that, and we're going to be asking for that, okay? Just so you're prepared. Like I told you, remember, let's go back up here. You see this right here? You need to start brushing up on your differential geometry and tensor calculus skills. I wasn't kidding. We're going to hold you to task on this every single time you bring it up. Get ready. It's going to be a bloodbath. You're not going to like it. We understand. We know this. Right? It's going to be hard. Like the Black Swan, you haven't gotten that argument. It's been over 9 months now. So you even overshot my prediction, which is pretty darn funny. I don't know how long it's going to take for this. I think it might take shorter because it's like it's like a dagger right into the intestines, right? Right? You're going to have to start parroting this stuff, man. You better brush up. I'm going to hold you to it. Who else?
John.
Yes.
Yeah, this has nothing directly to do with the presentation, although indirectly somewhat. But I was wondering, have you ever watched the movie Interstellar? Have you ever seen that? It's a space movie. Yeah, have you seen it?
Yes.
Because I watched it again yesterday, and I paid extra attention to basically the supposed science side of them trying to figure out gravity. And I actually caught some extra words that I haven't seen before, even though I've seen the movie like 4 times, always been distracted by the visual effects and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And was just wondering, like, they claim to have figured out like this field equation and the gravity problem with Einstein and Newton or something in that direction through some Morse code that they got from the singularity. And I was just wondering, like, yeah, but you should know this because to you, this should be like straightforward, visible as to what they're trying to put out. Like, I was just wondering, could you perhaps at one point try like a review of this movie and what they were claiming they were doing in overcoming gravity?
Oh,
and all
goodness.
that?
I'd have to go back. Like I said, I watched Interstellar when it first came out. That was some years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's 2010 or something.
That's what I thought, man. That was a long time ago, dude.
Or 14 could be. I don't know. A long time ago.
Was that
But
with
it's
Sandra
still
Bullock?
interesting.
Say again, Betty?
Was that with Sandra Bullock in it?
No, that's Gravity.
That was
Oh.
with
That's Gravity.
Yeah.
The movie.
that was with
It's called
what's his
Gravity
name from
Lecture.
Failure to Launch.
Could I go back in time a little bit?
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey, yes. Adam, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Just go back a bit in time to the beginning of the presentation. There's just, like you said, it's something I've spoke on before, and I think the concept of weight is important.
Where you want me to go, Adam?
Just if you go to the start first of all. I'm just going to reminisce. So, as a cocky young ballhead at university, I remember coming across this concept, obviously, and going to uni, chatting to my chemistry professors as we're doing assays, and really important that you're taking measurements and you're trying to calculate the amount of other substance through reaction.
Sure.
So being a bit of a smart arse and taking this, obviously, you go to the professor and say there's variable weight. Surely, how do we know which is the right one to take? And back then, the significance probably didn't hit me, other than shut up, you idiot, is what I got at the time. But he kind of said that weight is what we use to measure stuff. You want to get into the realms of the physics departments, then what they do is take weight and subdivide it. Yeah. we don't. That's all you ever measure is weight. And that in mind, it maybe, John, if you go to the W equals m times g equation, just want to kind of speak out. As well as weight, as Arwin said, it being a conceptual thing anyway, which is conceptual in relation to solids and liquids and how they exert pressure.
It's like a convention.
Convention. Yeah. Which is in fact, weight equals mass times gravity. Now, and this was the point that Prof was kind of making to me. How do I use that, ascertain it? Well, first thing I'm going to do is ascertain what the real substance, the physical thing I've got in front of me, I'm going to apply this convention to is to weigh it. And that's the left side of the equation. Okay. So I weigh it. I weigh it in kilograms. But what I do is turn that number into newtons, multiplying it by gravity. And then what I do is I go to the other side of the equation and say to myself, well, yeah, what's its mass? Well, its mass is equal to its weight times gravity. What's its weight? Yeah. Do you see the, and this is the
Yeah, I see
word
it.
you pulled out last week, Arwin, when we were talking about Al-Biruni and the paradox of what they're doing here. When we devised weight was weight, okay, and the ballers then steal it, and they use this paradox to flim-flam you, the snake oil salesman, and tell you that weight is equal to m times g. Where do you get the m from? If all you're doing is pre-assuming that w is equal to m anyway, which is the only thing you do measure, times n.
Can I ask a quick question, Adam?
Hey,
Hello, by the way.
Nathan, what's up, sir?
Evening, mate.
Sky's up.
Damn.
Just a quick question. So
Yeah.
when you did the weighing bit, can you just talk me through precisely what that would involve? What did you do with what you did, with what it was that you did it with?
You take a physical substance and you put it onto a scale, which is something that is the fundamentals of this convention.
I need more detail.
you?
More detail in the physical realm. Tell me precisely what you're going to do. The details.
I hate when you try and lead me. I'm rubbish at it, but I'll go. Well, we take the substance, we place it onto the pan, and then from the pan then applies a differential across a torsion beam in the old school sense. That differential is then read across a scale which has been predefined. Most fundamentally, it's a scale. It's not a real thing. It's a scale.
Okay, so I take
word of what scale means.
Okay, so I take my hydrogen and I pop it on a tray. Is that what you said?
Oh no, you can't put hydrogen. You couldn't do it because hydrogen in that lab sense would be gaseous. Now, the point of the scale is it's developed for the convention to be applied by the dynamics of the way in which fluids and solids behave. So the scale is only applicable to the physical dynamics that apply to solids and liquids. It's in no way applicable and usable with something like hydrogen, which is in that state would be gaseous. Therefore, the convention would not be applicable to use because of the phase state.
Right, you can only weigh it in a vacuum weight convention situation.
Oh, even in a vacuum, it would still be a gas. So conventionally, the only way you can do it is to turn that. It's a bit like a year ago when Spurs was doing our heads in, and the way to weigh a gas is to freeze it. So you can't weigh it as a gas. You can only freeze it, turn it into a liquid, and weigh its weight there. And once again, that is the only way you can do it because you have to turn it into a liquid because weight is a convention used for liquids and solids. It's not applicable to gases.
Hold on, you can still put the gas in a strong balloon and then weigh it in a vacuum. Then you detract the balloon weight, and then you have it. as it were.
Yeah.
You would have to weigh the balloon without the gas in it in the vacuum first, and then detract that specific amount.
Like I say, weight is a convention which is based upon the atomic structure of the way in which solids form a crystalline lattice, and liquids hold together within their container. That all has a cohesive structure. The fundamental difference between the phase states of solids, liquids, and fundamentally gases is that gases don't have a cohesive structure. The individual molecules behave in a random direction individually and not cohesive.
Okay, so you're saying it's not applicable to gases. It's just liquids and solids. So, okay, is it specific to the medium? In other words, if I was underwater, could I apply this? Is it medium specific also?
The scale would change because the buoyancy, as Alwyn in his sentence at the beginning mentioned,
Hold on.
Within air.
What's buoyancy? What's this buoyancy word you've just?
If we're talking about the relative effects, when we think about a balloon, you've got those relative effects of pressure, as we call it, which is basically those tiny little molecules. Each one can't do anything to that balloon, but when they're all together hitting it together at the same time, it inflates the balloon. So it's that same. For me, gas pressure is the greatest example of what. So we don't know what's going on, but is that? And I lost the point of it, Nathan. Really, but it's conventionally you can't apply gas pressure, gas behavior to convention we use for weight. Fundamentally,
but isn't it fundamentally a part of it? If it's medium specific and I can't do the same process underwater, then while you're saying it's not applicable to the gases, it's very specifically in the medium of a gas.
Yeah. So the principle applies within. So if we were to make the air denser, etc., they say things weigh a little bit lighter. Maybe they do because there's less overall. Now I think they negate because gases behave randomly in all directions, but there is an overall buoyancy, an application of that relative behavior within a medium that has a relative differential effect. So, and that is exemplified. Again, you need a phase transition because in most gases, the effect is negligible. It's certainly not noticeable. You might be able to try and detect it in a way, but when you go and say put it underwater, why do I weigh less when I'm on the water? Because there is stuff interacting with you and the scale now. So no longer is it just a straight virtual dynamic between the object and the scale. There's other things at play, which affects the equipment that's the thing that gives you this validity. And like I say, it doesn't affect the concept and the way in which the scale moves, but it will change the scale. And you'd have to, like I said, mercury is another good example. If you were to keep it within liquids, water, and mercury, the same effects there, but you would have to factor in those other variables, but the same principles at play. But fundamentally, when you're trying to measure a gas, when you put it on, the same principle isn't at play anymore. Nothing's applying its pressure solely to the scale. It's applying it randomly in all directions.
Are you finished with your query, Nathan? Did you have an endpoint?
My endpoint was that it's asserted quite frequently the gas can be weighed because we have this downward vector that we need to account for. Now you're saying we can't, and the globe heads are under the apprehension that if you put the gas under containment, you can.
Yeah, I fundamentally disagree.
Don't we have another problem? We have another problem with the definition of weight that I just went over. I'm sorry, in your lab, did you pull out Einstein's field equations and then define weight via those equations? Because you have to. Because what had happened was that Einstein had replaced classical mechanics. Weight equal mg. Mg, love you long time.
Newton tried to replace classical reality. And that's the point, is weight was always weight. It's what something weighs. We know what it means fundamentally. Yeah. What Newton first tried to do, as I say with the equation, is steal that fundamental understanding we have of the certainty of it. Now we don't have an understanding of it. What he tried to do was to try to apply an understanding to it and then bastardize it, break it up and pervert it, as you say. Yeah. You can't take reality away from us, but what they've tried to do is try to explain reality with, again, a paradox.
That was actually the reason I joined. So you put it out to the audience, and I saw myself as exactly that at that particular moment, although I am a ball buster. You put it out to the audience that given we've had a replacement for Newtonian gravity, and that's Einsteinian gravity, you posed the question of how you would explain the tides. Well, you've got a body that's Earth and you've got a body that's the Moon, and you're asking the soon to be forced to understand their current rhetoric of Einsteinian gravity believers to explain this using Einstein's field equations. Can I just get clarity that is what you've asked them to do?
Yeah, that's one. That's only one. That's just one screaming example because it came up over the past couple months.
Okay, for the audience's benefit, may I or can you explain the problem with that?
Go ahead.
Can't solve for more than one mass in Einstein's field equations.
That's correct. Even if you could, it's not going to give you anything. You're just describing. The equations only describe there is no theory equations. It's a paradox. That's another paradox.
I don't want to. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Regardless of whether or not you could solve this mathematical abstraction, this description, it's never going to be a causal. You're right, but that is my point. I want to labour the point that even in the mathematics, it's asserted by Einstein himself, it cannot solve for more than one mass. So in your problem, in your posed question, you've got the mass of the Earth, that's one mass, and you've got the mass of the Moon, that's two masses. Well, Einstein's field equations can't solve for that.
They don't even know what mass. Well, yeah, that's true, but then you're going to have to define mass.
Well, if you're talking about the tide, suddenly it's worse than that. You've got the mass of the Moon, one mass, and its effect on the mass of the Earth, but you're not really interested in its effect on the mass of the Earth. You're affected on the differential between the relative masses of the Earth and the Earth's water and how it then moves that in its relativity motion, which is just an impossibility, surely, for the.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I might want to make my overarching point.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So, yeah, absolutely correct, Adam, right? So, it's an impossibility. It cannot be done. So, it's a very quick conclusion to the problem. You've got a force being asserted in old 105-year out-of-date rhetoric that gives you the tides, and yet you move over to the new hotness of Einsteinian bullshit, and it cannot solve this problem. It can't account for it. It can't do it mathematically. Even within the reification of gravity, you can't do this. Well, my point is that for anybody listening, pay close attention. Why is it that we want them to abandon the 105-year out-of-date rhetoric, and why are they so attached to it? Well, it's because Einsteinian gravity is so much faster to pummel.
That's not the whole reason why. I'm trying to get. You see, what they're doing is they're making shit up, and they're not following their pseudoscience priests, which have been telling them for the past 105 years. I just put it down literally for them to parrot the right pseudoscience. That's all I want them to do. Just parrot it, mindlessly parrot it, by the way, because they don't know what it is. No one knows what it is. So that's all I'm trying to do, is to get them on the same sheet of music with their pseudoscience priests.
Yeah, but even their pseudoscience priests give them the permission to think about gravity as a force if they choose to, right? Like, even their own priests tell them it's not what it is, but yeah, if you want to think of it as that, then yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Well, that's
but
only
you can-
one. That's only one pseudoscience priest. I'm sorry, and we all know that he has some issues. But according to what I just read out today, superseded, replaced all of Newtonian mechanics, that is toppled from the throne, right? If it's toppled from the throne, then they can't even think of it as that.
Well, they can think of it as whatever they like, and two can play at that game, Chocolate. I can do it too, and people can quote me on this. Feel free to write this down and quote me on it. Gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a roast chicken. I give you permission.
Exactly. That's how far we've fallen. You got it. Exactly.
I like chicken. That works.
Oh boy, the tangled webs they weave. Jedi, what's happening, sir?
Yeah, good to see you, buddy. Great presentation. Got nothing to say, mate. It's just completely pounding. I definitely want to get them onto their own scientific rhetoric of, Einstein and all of this crapping away from Newton and his masses, attracting masses bollocks. But yeah, imagine that in the arena and on the Discord server. That is going to be my foremost question. At least parrot the right pseudoscience for me.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Hey, Betty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still with us? Any admin? Any thoughts on this yourself?
Well, I'm glad you're not talking about my weight. So
It's
no.
just relative to air. Don't worry about it. You weigh a lot less in water.
Well, the thing is that you talked about water weight, and I thought, okay, yeah, I don't know. They need to have that double speak. I think they use it for one thing, and when it doesn't work out, then they use something else and try to sort of entangle in a web that they weave indeed. So yeah.
Yeah.
So you want them to now just use Einstein's field equations that don't even work, right? That's just funny.
Oh, by the way, just to let y'all know, BallTARDs, that's not the worst part of it. There's another itty bitty problem that all of his field equations violate Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. By the way, just to let you know.
Yeah. That was mentioned in the movie Interstellar specifically. It was hilarious.
Did it say it in the movie?
Yeah, and apparently they figured out how to unify it. So I was yeah. I was really curious, like, what will QE think about this? That's why I asked, could you remove like the math part of this movie?
I'd have to go back and watch it again. I don't remember that part. Too funny.
Maybe it's on Netflix. You can watch it there.
It is. I watched it on Netflix right now,
Really?
like yesterday. So yeah.
Oh, that might be interesting. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I have no admin for you, so that's
Okay.
it. Maybe,
Thank you.
Maybe
Thank you.
other people have more questions. I don't know.
Somebody said, "Excuse me." So.
Yeah, hey man, it's Travis. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, you just said that it violates Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Can you affirm that in any way? Any citations or any examples of such? Over.
Yeah. Hold on. Go ahead, talk amongst yourselves. Smoke them if you got them.
Well, isn't it just put simply, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle is more you know, Well, basically, if you can never know exactly where a particle is. Well, even that obviously destroys Newtonian, but even under Einsteinian, and therefore, if you never know exactly where it is, then it's not following a geodesic path, is it?
Yes. He didn't want the explanation. He wanted the citation for it, citation backup. So hold on.
Really, either one was just fine. Just an example or a citation would be good.
Oh,
Because
Go ahead.
you just stated it, really. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about it. Thank you.
Yeah, in Einsteinian relativistic mechanics, every time space point has to be defined, and that goes against Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Just what Adam said. It's over. Can't do it. It's impossible.
For me, it's not about making a citation. It's about applying that logic yourself. I mean,
Sure.
unless you're going to poo-poo Heisenberg, unless you're going to poo-poo what they state as the geodesic path, you can see that there's the confliction between the two things. Now, you may be able to fudge in your own head, say, oh, well, it's a bit like dark matter. We've just not realised that there's the uncertainty along the path. But the point is that it's not along the path anymore, is it? The mathematics now has to conflate the two, which is, I mean, it was bad enough before, wasn't it? It wasn't possible before, but now do it on a quantum level. And like I say, it goes back to Newtonian. Yeah, if you drop something, it might hurt this much when it drops on your toe. That may be true, and the way they're doing stuff may be true, because it's always going to be checked in reality. But fundamentally, the way it's portrayed to us is as an explanation. As you can see, there is no explanation. It's just trying to make mathematics fit.
Can I just give a word to the wise? Adam?
Mm.
You just gave a plausible, I know it's not realistic, but a plausible, on the surface level, explanation of how this uncertainty principle could work with geodesics in space-time. And I know you gave it as they could come back with this. Dr. John Dee did it recently with his video, although we won't get into that now. Pretty sure QE's going to try and round out soon. But you're giving them an explanation in those words that you just used, and be careful, because often you'll find that those will get parroted back by someone else as an explanation.
Yeah. I'm not so worried about the trolls out there that's just to people. Go think about it. That it's not a reality. Listen to the last bit of what I said. None of it is true. It's just as things change and you discover something new, they have to go and invent more maths to fill in the gaps that proves that fundamentally the last bit of maths was a lie and the explanation it gave you was a lie. Hence dark matter, dark energy, all that crap that they have to keep building and building and building. Fundamentally, ignore all of it and comprehend there is no spoon.
Just to tie this bow, one last knot in the bow here. Another tiny little problem, and this is a shout out to you guys in the UK from Warwick University. That's close to you, isn't it, Nathan?
Warwick.
Well, what the hell do they got the other W in there for? Look,
just ignore the other W.
Warwick.
It's specifically to screw with Americans, Joe.
All right, from Warwick University. The problem is that the equations, those are Einstein's field equations, require the energy and momentum to be defined precisely at every space-time point, which contradicts the uncertainty principle for quantum states. This is not just a problem at high energies or short distances. It is a conceptual incompatibility that applies in every lab. Game, set, match, and night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I plug my show before you end?
I am going to go right through everyone right here for some final thoughts, and you could take us home. Arwen.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, great show. Glad to be part of it. I would just like to go way back to the beginning where I basically laid it out quickly and share again. It is a convention. What it does, what weight actually stands for is in a specific setting, air, That's what normal weight is in a medium of air. What does the disequilibrium cause pressure-wise for an object? And then, yeah, you can derive from that, okay, there's this specific pressure that in air weight it will push down. That's translated into weight, and you can literally just add it up. But hey, the same thing will weigh differently in a different medium. Like in water, the water weight is very different. In a vacuum, things also are different. So yeah, it is just a convention. It's just said, okay, the general weight, which is very specific in a medium of air, that's what we're going to go by, because most people on Earth, yeah, live in air. So that's going to be weight. And that's what weight really stands for. It's just a convention based on relative density in a very specific medium. But yeah, it's purely derived from the effects of relative density, which, yeah, are very dependent on object-medium density relation.
Thank you. Plug your show, please.
Yeah. Flat Earth Early Bird Show every day, 2 p.m. Amsterdam time on Arwin channel, ARWIJN, every day. So I talk about this stuff as well, and yeah, all kinds of things, and movies, Interstellar. Right. So I hope to see you there.
Thanks, Arwin. Chocolate, sir.
Great presentation, man. I can't wait. What the hell?
That was Neil.
Thanks, Neil. No, man, great presentation, brother. Can't wait to hear them use weight. See what I did there?
Yeah, just wait, Matt. You won't have to wait long.
I know. Yep.
Appreciate it,
No
man.
problem, man.
Thanks for coming. Flat Earth data, quickly. That was quick. Thanks. Neil.
I was muted.
Hey, wait a minute, John. You need to unmute people.
All right, come back to me.
All right. Sorry about that, Flat Earth. I thought you were unmuting them.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good, Kiwi. Good job. Good presentation, man. Well done. Thank you.
Wow. You got him trained well. Jeez. Oh.
Neil.
Neil. Yeah, I didn't hear a word because all my windows are open. I got no AC in my car, but I trust you were right on point.
That would be a good assumption.
Keep trucking.
Thanks, Neil. Rebel.
He might not be able to
I'm
talk.
on mute, man.
Yeah, it sounds
you
like
are.
it. You are now. Rob Keane, what's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You don't understand.
I know I don't. Keep it a secret.
Great show.
Thanks, man. The Adam Meakin, sir.
I mean, I'll echo, obviously, I enjoyed that. Good opportunity for me to reminisce as well. Right? I don't profess to have the answers. I just hope people grasp what you're showing them, what the ballers will try to gain. So fundamentally, that word Owen pulled out this week, paradox, within all of this. And hopefully we've demonstrated again that it is weight. Don't let them kid you. It's got anything to do with mass times gravity, which are only further concepts upon the conceptualization of weight anyway. There are subdivision, as my tutor said, to allow the physicists to wander off. And that's what they do. And look how they do it. And hopefully you see that none of this, none of it, is an explanation. All of it is based on you sticking something on a scale or feeling the differential in your hand. It's based on that fundamentally, and the rest is supposition. Which I think you see is added upon and not proven. It's assumed.
Thanks, Adam. Channel plug.
Yeah. So I was back on Realm last week. So I've always give the boys a shout out, and hopefully I'll be over there again. It's on a Friday night, around about 11 o'clock UK time. And obviously the boys are rocking it on TFR and YouTube as well on the Ironworks, and that's at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday and a Friday. And just one other thing, shout out to Roxanne. I really wrote Roxanne channel. She's doing some great stuff in the UK at the moment that's not necessarily flat earth related, but relevant to all our positions, I think. So shout out to her, and I'll be on there as well on Thursday night. So yeah, cheers, Kiwi. Thanks, mate.
Appreciate it, Adam. Betty, any final thoughts? Any admin?
Yeah, you got some admin. You got a great super chat from Rookie Alive. He says, "Gravity is great. Makes for a great show when a guy with 248 debunks it. Rookie Alive."
Yeah, he knows it. Thanks a lot, Dave. Appreciate that, man. And I know you got the memo.
Mhm. Yeah.
I got a final thought.
Oh, hold on. I missed you. I'm sorry, Travis. That's my fault. Hold on a second, Betty. Travis, go ahead. Final thoughts, man. Sorry about that.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. I just want to echo what Arwen said. He said it perfectly. And then also with that, the medium object differences are that it's crucial. 9.8 meters per second wouldn't even work in water. So I mean, already it's dead. But also the bigger thing that I wanted to say is in the debates, Anthony Riley, shout out to him. I think it was him that found a death knell within the whole operation of the weight aspect. Does anybody recall that?
What do you mean?
The egg experiment?
The egg experiment?
No, it was within the formula. I believe it was a really big deal. Nobody seems to remember that. Nathan, do you?
If you're referring to a 50 millionth to one, I'm going to throttle you.
Nope, it was something different than that. But that was excellent as well, and that was Anthony Riley.
I'm gonna throttle you. All right. Anything else, Travis?
No, sir. Thank you for your time. Appreciate your work.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir. Betty, any final thoughts? And admin, sorry I interrupted you before.
No, you didn't. It was okay. Yeah, you had the super chat, so that was the one. And I was just saying that I think there was a quote of someone that said that if the American people, and I think that it goes for all the people, by the way, believe in the lies of the sciences and other things, then we can control them, right? So it's a base of control if they hold the narrative. And I had a conversation with my mom, and she said like, yeah, what's the use of all this, right, with the flat Earth and stuff? And said, well, if they lie about this, something where you live on, can you imagine what else they are lying about?
Precisely.
Right? So we need to be aware of the bigger picture, even beyond flat Earth, that they lie about everything, and they do this for control. So do we want to be controlled, or do we want to get to the truth? So you have to do your own research. If you don't like the presentations, for example, then go and find it yourself. Just don't wait around for people to tell you, but just go and find it yourself. That's would be my...
Outstanding, Betty. Adam, I seen you perking up. Did you want to add something?
Just to add to Travis what he was saying about Riley, and hopefully I've pointed out the issue. W equals M times G. I want you to pretend that you're weighing on your scales W. But if you go to the formula, the thing you calculate is M. It even says it here, mass is a measure of how much matter there is in something.
Ooh, that's a problem.
Kilograms in science. Yeah, you measure something in kilograms, and then what you pretend, and they're asking you to kid when they go into Newton's laws of motion, pretend the thing you measured isn't what you're going to put on the W side, the weight of something. You're being asked to pretend that you move across to the other side and multiply it by G to give you something in standard SI unit of newtons. It's a flim flam, the greatest proportions. Me this one. We only ever, if we're using we only ever measure M. And we don't ever measure M. We only ever measure W. They tried to kid us otherwise.
Yeah, it's not only a flim flam, they can't even define him. So this is flim flam times 1,000 on nuclear steroids.
But did we ever actually measure W if we've never actually measured M?
Yeah, we only have the convention of W, but they try to pretend that what you get when you do the convention of W is M.
It's a circular
Thank you.
jerk of epic proportions, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Betty, did you have anything else? Was that all? It was outstanding, though, Betty. I agree with everything that you said.
Yeah. I said that I like Adam talking, but when I make a great point like that and then overtalk that, that's
Well, I'm going to echo. I'm going to echo your point in a minute, actually. But so don't.
Okay,
don't fret.
good.
All right, take us home, Nathan.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, good point, Travis. So it was actually a very good point, and Adam reiterated it. I didn't understand it. You made it clear. Thank you for bringing it up, Travis, and big shout out to Sleeping Warrior, who is absolutely ace. But firstly, obviously, a big shout out to Quantum Eraser. Excellent presentation. Thank you very much for having me, albeit at the end. And yes, a shout out to my own show, which is going out right now. So be here or be sphere for brand new Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After show, which is going out on the Nathan Oakley channel as we speak. I will spam the link to the show in the chat. But to reiterate Betty's point, which was it's why I'm here. The heliocentric deception, and gravity is part of it, is the biggest deception in mankind's history. And if you've got a good understanding of the debunkings of the mathematical reifications and lack of science, and why there's a lack of science within the heliocentric religion, you can then pick apart the baby, minor, seemingly insignificant hoaxes that we get daily from our television screens. And they're really easy to pick apart if you've got a good understanding of why the heliocentric deception, which, as I will reiterate, is the biggest deception in mankind's history. If they can deceive you about the nature of the very existence around you, they can deceive you about anything, which is your point, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It's easy to see the little lies when you recognise the big lie. That's all I was going to say. So yeah, be here before be sphere. You will say one final word before he presses the stop button.
Can I just say something real quick, Nathan?
It's not my show.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're fine. Yep.
It has to do with Nathan's show, though. You're about to have a show that's coming on after this, right? I already seen it, though, because I'm a member of your channel.
If you're a member, you've seen it already. But turn that into a positive.
But I'll still watch it again because it's always hilarious.
So yeah, if you're not a member, obviously you'll be seeing it brand spanking new. But you could have seen it already if you'd have been a Nathan Oakley channel member.
There it is.
Yeah. I'm gonna say a couple things before we go. But is that all? Is that all you got, Nathan?
No, that was it. It was an excellent presentation. I was listening to the whole thing. So great points from everybody. Concise as ever. Great show. Great panel.
Thank you, sir. That's the final. Listen, like I said in the beginning, this was a short presentation. It didn't need to be long. There are major problems with it right out of the gate, right through midstream, and at the end it dies. So this is all over. BallTARDs, you have to parrot the correct pseudoscience. From this point forward, you are going to be forced. No pun intended. Well, yeah, there was a pun intended. You're going to have to brush up, like I said, on your differential geometry and tensor calculus, because you are going to be challenged with this from here on out. The gloves are off. We chopped your arms off. It's over. So get ready. Gird your loins. So take no prisoners. No quarter will be asked. None shall be given. And remember, I'll be back.